Welcome back to another tutorial. So today is going to be on how I achieve this corset pattern with a stylish curve area. So the down part of this stylish posterior pattern, corset pattern rather, is curvy. And so I'm just going to be running over this. I have several videos on how to draft your pattern. So the first thing I'm just doing here is I'm trying to draw out my starting point, my nipple point, to my underbust, to the waistline, to the full length of the dress. So the curvy part, I want it to be around 24 to 25 inches. So the next thing I did is to measure the shoulder to shoulder, which is my shoulder divided by 2. Then I also mark whatever I have left here and I draw my arm O. So I'll make sure these 3 points touches the arm O line, the midpoint and the slopey part of it. Then I'll draw out my curve like this. I've also gone ahead to mark out the V-neck part. The front part is V and the back part is just going to be like 1.5 or 2 inches. So don't forget to also draw out your shoulder slope. And from there, I'm just going over what I've done so far so you guys will understand. My nipple point, my bust point, my under bust, the waist length and the half length of my dress. So guys, after that I did my nipple to nipple. So the nipple to nipple I'm working with is 8 inches divided by 4 plus half an inch for joining allowance, and I'm gonna have to draw a straight line. So the V-neck, I want it to be around 8 inches. At first I did 9, but I feel it to be too low. So I decided to take it up by um 8 about 1 inch. So that's 8 inches I have there, and I've connected it to my neck width. So on the underbust line for my underbust curve, I use 2 inches towards the side, and on the center part, which is the V-neck part, I use half an inch and I draw a straight line down like this. So the next thing I want to do is I want my pattern to have like a bust part. So if you want, you can just ignore this part. It's not a must. But if your half length of your body is bigger or longer than that of the back half length, you might need to do this. But if it's not, you can just ignore. So guys, I am going to be cutting out the half length I have here around the bust line, and I'll also open up my shoulder dart like this because I want the dart or the upper part to open so I can be able to close up my side darts. So this is what I have here. So I'll just finish it up by covering and sellotape it down so it will not disturb me. So I'll move ahead to finish up this bust area. So on the under bust, I'll just curve it like this from that neckline, from the armhole line, or directly from the neckline. You're just going to connect it to meet the under bust line like this. And from the other side, I'll also connect from the under bust all the way to the armhole side as well. So you can just use your free hand to do this, guys, if you don't have the French curve. So I'll connect it like this. So the next thing I want to do is to measure my bust circumference. I'll just take all my body measurements and I'll add my dart allowance. Then I'll also add my sewing allowance. So don't forget all your measurements is divided by 4. So my under bust is divided by 4 as well. And I'll also add the dart intake I have here. I'll replace the dart intake and also add my sewing allowance. So guys, I also measure for my waistline, and here on the hip line I'll do the same thing, my hip divided by 4 plus the dart intake and also my normal sewing allowance. So I'll connect all the dots together like this. So for the that area which on the neck part for my shoulder that I would just want to tighten it a bit. This is not necessary, you can just ignore as well. But I want it to be tightened a bit here around the neckline. So guys, the next thing I'll do is to then curve my pattern. So for this part, remember for this curvy area, at the center front, you need to go up by like at least 4 inches. You can do higher than that depending on how curvy you want it to be. So I'm doing 4 inches and I'll just curve it to the other side. So guys, if you don't want yours to be too high, you can just do 3 inches. So before I close it, I need to cover my that area so it will be even by the time I open it up. It will not be looking higher than the other. So I am going to close it like this, then curve it. So if you have your long French curve, that long big one, you can use it, or you just use your free hand at this point. So this is what it's going to be looking like when I am done. So you see why you need to close it up before you cut it. So this is the shape I'll have. The next thing I'll do is to then cut out my pattern. So I also cut out the V-neck part of my neck area. So after cutting it out, I'll just close up the center because I want the center part to be one piece at the end of the day. So because I've already removed my dart, so I'll just cut out one piece. If you want it to have maybe like a bonnet or you want it to have that joining at that area, you can just ignore and cut it in. Leave it as two pieces. So for the back part, I'll go ahead and draw my lines, my armhole line, my waistline. This point is no need for underbust and for your, okay, you need your bust point, but you don't need your underbust. Then the waistline and to the hem of the dress. So I want the waist to be equal, so I will use my front pattern to check where the waistline will be. So I will also draw my zip allowance. Don't forget your zip allowance. At this point, I'm almost forgetting. So after that, I'll measure my shoulder. I'll connect the lines together like this. So for your shoulder, for your armhole, to know where your armhole is, I believe you all know how to calculate it. It's going to be your ball circumference divided by 4 divided by 6 plus 1.5 centimeters. And you will connect like this to draw your armhole at the back. So I'll draw my nipple to nipple line. So I'll take my dart on the waistline, half inch away from the center line on both sides. Then I'll connect it to meet my bust point like this. And to the other side, I'll do the same thing. So to the waistline, to the hem of my dress, I'll also connect from my half the dart all the way down like this. So for my pattern not to be too long or to know where this thing is, I will also need my pattern for the front also. But before then, let me just finish off my bust circumference, all the body circumference before I'll do that. So I'm measuring my bust circumference divided by 4, my waist circumference divided by 4, and my hip circumference divided by 4. So I'm going to be adding my sewing allowance to this. So at this point, I realized the pattern I had here will not accommodate my bust, my hip part. So I had to add extra paper to this. Then after that, I'll connect all of them like this, all the dots together. So what I have here matches exactly the way I want it. So for me to cut the curvy part on the hem line for the back, I also need to close my dart. I'll close the back dart like this so I can be able to draw my curve. So I'm checking the same height for the front to see where it should be. So I want the back pattern to be a little bit higher than that. So I'll just check again and I'll draw what I want. So I took it up a little bit higher than the front. I'll finish up the neck area with the same neck width I used for the front, but the neck depth is going to be around 1 and 1.5 inches here for the back pattern, and I'll also connect my shoulder slope. So don't forget to add your half an inch sewing allowance for the shoulder slope. So guys, at first I thought the material would be enough, but unfortunately material was not enough. So I wanted it to have a yoke before, so I cut out a yoke for this. But if you don't want to be adding a yoke to yours, you can just use the same. Don't need to cut out yoke, so you are using the same material also for the back. But at first I thought my material would be enough, so I cut out a yoke for mine. But I ended up replacing the yoke with the same material I used for the down part. So guys, so I'll cut out all the cut from the center point. I'll cut out my dart like this. So here is the yoke and here is the back part. I'll label it as my yoke. Then so I'll cut out the pattern on my fabric, and this is what I have here. I'm gonna have to cut it out. I'll also cut out lining for each of them, and here it says I'm done cutting out for the back as well. So guys, this is the cotton part. I'll be dropping the sewing part of this. Do where to check it out, and hope to see you in my next video. Thank you for always stopping by. If you have not subscribed, please don't forget to hit on the subscribe button